But you know what? We're going to move on with happier things. Oh, no, not yet. We're starting today with a very big controversy. Balenciaga, the luxury fashion house, is apologizing for two different ad campaigns. So here's the first, and it features kids featuring plush teddy bears, their bear bags, and the bears appear to be dressed in bondage-inspired outfits. The second ad featured products in an office environment, but this one included papers from a Supreme Court involving child pornography. Balenciaga is apologizing today, saying the ads with the plush bear bag should never have featured children. They also explained the documents in the other ads were provided by a third-party company that promised that all the office documents were fake, but were in fact not. Balenciaga is now suing that company for $25 million. A lawyer for the company says Balenciaga representatives were present during the photo shoot, and they signed off on everything that was included. So let's start off with these ad campaigns. Do the ones featuring the kids with the bears, if you want to go back and show them, upset you two as parents? What do you guys think?
First, when I saw the two tied together, because it was like a Fox News segment, they were talking about this and then the documents, and I thought that it was all in one advertisement.
I did as well.
And that is the most offensive thing I've ever seen in my life. I was like, what is that? That's crazy. Separately, I still think like it's a multi-million-dollar well-oiled machine, and there's people at every single stop, because I know some of them, not at Balenciaga, but at other big fashion brands that have to oversee from the company anything that an outside production company is doing. And so you telling me that nobody over there zoomed in? So why does everyone have a job? What is everyone doing that's on the Balenciaga side? That's crazy that you're just leaving it all up to this company who promised you, that this was, and they took responsibility for it. So you asked me specifically about the bear.
Yeah, the children.
They took responsibility for that ad. They said that was them, and they take fault. They don't think that that was appropriate now looking back, especially when paired with the documents.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on, like it's almost like when we saw the Dove ad and people were taking off their clothes and turning into black women and then white women. It was weird. And so nobody from that, your agency said, this rubs me the wrong way. Maybe you need to have more people in there. Maybe more people with children in the room. There's always a conversation about who's in the room, and it shouldn't just be all men or all one person, because that's when you get stuff like this, or people that are just so lazy that they're not going to actually do the job of checking all the things before it makes it anywhere publicly.
Now, can I say, what if they did check and liked that it was pushing and provoking, which is sort of the cool thing these days? What do you think, Al? Did they miss it?
If that's the case, if we're going with your
and that's speculation,
yes,
of course.
If your proposed hypothetical scenario, then they have to be ready to take whatever is going to come back. If that's going to be the direction, if you're going to say we're going to push the envelope to that extent, you need to be ready for whatever is coming back. And to your point, Lindsay, I completely agree. And I'll take it a step further. It's not only who's in the room, but who feels empowered to speak in the room. Because I guarantee you there was somebody like, hey, bro, that might not fly. But if you know that your boss is going to pull you outside and say, Lindsay, you really embarrassed me in front of my boss. You don't question me in there, maybe out here. So I think a lot of people are scared to speak up. And this is what I know that's the I word everybody's scared of saying, inclusion. This is why you have a number of eyeballs in the room to say young people is like, that's not going to play with my generation, or older. You need that. And because when I saw this, I really thought it was like a sketch from Bruno.
I thought it was The Onion. I thought it was The Onion.
It looked like it's shocking to that all this money's being spent and nobody ever zoomed in on any of these things and said this might be problematic, especially given the current climate.
And being provocative is one thing. I love that fashion is provocative, but being provocative surrounding anything related to children doesn't make sense. Why would we ever need to be provocative with children?
I appreciate that, especially in this time. I was just going to give off also, like, with sex trafficking and all that going on, none of this is working for me as an image. I'm not saying this is child pornography. I'm not going crazy with it. I'm not horribly offended. But the imaging is such an ick factor. To put those bondage things with the teddy bears, which means innocence. Right. Who was this for? It was just a huge mistake. I agree. But I do want to get to this because there's more controversy because, as you know, several high-profile celebs regularly work with Balenciaga. Who's number one? The Kardashians. Kim, she spoke out against the ads featuring the plush bear bag, saying, quote, I've been shaken by the disturbing images. She also said, I'm currently reevaluating my relationship with the brand. But then there's Nicole Kidman, who was actually featured in one of these ad campaigns. She has not said anything at this point, but some people are calling her out because of her silence. So here's my question, Lindsay and Al, and to the viewer. even if you're not buying Balenciaga, your stars or movies you're watching, TV shows, are they required to speak out in situations like this? And do you think speaking out is enough, or do they need to cut ties with Balenciaga? I do want to say Nicole Kidman had no idea about the documents, or she wasn't in the baby plush.
I don't know about cutting ties, just because, you know, Lindsay, I don't know if you can tell from this far out, but do you think we'll be talking about this next Monday? Because I don't. I think the news cycle will roll on, and I think their representatives definitely know that as well. And I think that they're like, I'm reviewing my relationship, I'm thinking about it, and while they're thinking about it, things will move on, and that relationship will remain the same. I do think where we are, it seems good for the news cycle that day to say, I'm walking away from this, but maybe give it a week, because that money still spends.
Well, it's funny because I thought about you about the story because you and Jeff are always saying with Balenciaga, they've been problematic for how long they've been working with Kanye West, no matter what he did, how they put him in his show around the times of controversy, and they don't ever seem bothered by any of this stuff. So I was like, well, they kind of have always been this brand that's like, celebrities are aligned with them, and they're just like, we're going to keep doing our thing. So I don't think that we should just let it go. I do think Kim Kardashian should speak up, and other celebrities, and put their feet to the fire. And one thing that I like that Kim said, because she kind of has the power in the relationship.
For
like,
sure.
Balenciaga was always a popular brand. She took it to a different level. That's undeniable. And she said, well, there's a list of things that I would like them to commit to, kind of the same way that we asked of Kyrie Irving. And then when they do that, she's like, then I'll reevaluate my relationship. So somewhere in her statement, she was also reiterating that there are some things she would like to see done, and then she's going. So I think that there are actually things, and them apologizing again after Kim said that shows me that she has some power. Like, you need to do more. This offended all my mom friends. Every mom that has money that buys your bag, do something else.
Balenciaga, aga, aga, the booty, yooty, yooty, body, yaddy, yaddy. Nope. Coming up on DBL. I'm trying.
You committed.
I tried.
Balenciaga finally addresses its controversial campaign. Did this high fashion ad with teddy bears sexualize kids?
Welcome to DBL. Okay, so some of our viewers has brought this to our attention. We've been talking about it, but we're actually going to dive in today. We're starting with a very big controversy. Balenciaga, the luxury fashion house, well, they're apologizing now for two different ad campaigns. The first ad features kids with plush teddy bear bags. Okay, you're looking at it right there. But the bears appear to be dressed in bondage-inspired outfits. Now, the second ad featured products in an office environment, but this one included papers from a Supreme Court case involving child pornography. Balenciaga is apologizing, saying the ads with the plush bear bags should have never featured children. They also explain that the documents in the other ads were provided by a third-party company that promised all the office documents were fake, but in fact were not. So Balenciaga is now suing that company for $25 million. A lawyer for the company says Balenciaga representatives were present during the photo shoot, and they signed off on everything that was included. Tori, what do you think of these ad campaigns, the one specifically featuring the children with the bondage bears? Tell me, what are you thinking?
First of all, I don't believe for a second Balenciaga didn't see that and have to approve every little detail of that. And if
the Supreme Court?
No, the baby picture with the harnesses. And if you look more at it, there's wine glasses, there's like belts, there's like harnesses for S&M. I don't believe for a second they didn't understand that and they wanted to provoke, in my mind. I don't think the kids themselves are in child pornographic imagery, but I think they're holding what is pornographic. So putting those two things together, especially on a teddy bear, which is all about innocence, is in very weird way suggesting a sexualization of the child holding it. That mixed with child trafficking, child abuse, in this day and this social climate, I don't know what they were thinking, but it's not good.
What about you, Al?
I think they were looking to see how far they could push it.
Yeah, I think they were trying to be provocative.
There's something that's called hiding in plain sight, and it's you put your views out there. And I mean, when you go as far as to have just the papers, because we can go back and forth about the teddy bears, and obviously that is linking children with an adult sexual activity.
Absolutely.
And that's there. To me, there's no gray area, but that could be argued on their end, an artistic merit or whatever they would use. But the child pornographic, the Supreme Court papers. There's no mistake. You had to search for those. I wouldn't even know how to get those on the internet
v. Williams?
without getting arrested for looking up child porn. That is a deliberate act. and that was done in a way to kind of, you know, you always hear that like certain students will be like, I don't think my teacher reads my paper, so I just put something weird at the end of the essay to see if they catch it. That's what they were doing, but that was an inside joke saying, look what we get a chance to get away with. Look how dumb these people are. And why would you be focusing on this, Jeff? Please explain this to me, because I sure as hell don't know.
Well, there is a little bit more, and then we're going to get Jeff's point of view. Okay. Several high-profile celebs regularly work with Balenciaga. Kim Kardashian spoke out against the ads featuring the plush bear bag, saying, quote, I have been shaken by the disturbing images. She also said, I am currently re-evaluating my relationship with the brand. But then there's Nicole Kidman, who was featured in one of these ad campaigns. She has not said anything at this point. Some people are calling her out because of her silence. So here's the question. Are stars required to speak out in situations like this? And do you think speaking out is enough? Or should they cut ties with Balenciaga completely? Jeff?
They should cut ties. Where's the outrage? I'm going to go off for a minute here, because where is the outrage? It's been a week and a half, and now we're doing this story. I get it. Thanksgiving was happening and all that, but they tried to hide behind that, right? Maybe this will make it through the news cycle. No, it's not, okay? Adidas didn't cut ties 48 hours after Kanye did his whole thing, right? And they got lambasted for not speaking out against anti-Semitism. This is a week and a half, and nobody seems to care that there's little kids involved in this. I can't speak what it's like to be a black man, right? I can't speak what it's like to be a Jewish woman, but I can speak what it's like to be a father of 2 young boys. And that this type of behavior, when I worked at CBS.com out of a little closet my first show, I was like, I'm going to say this and wear a blue shirt. I got 49 emails saying, maybe wear a purple shirt and maybe don't say this here. Don't tell me this slipped through the cracks when you're getting a court case that features child pornography. It's disgusting. It's disturbing. Jeopardy's got to flip their whole production because of one person said something, but they wanted to be woke and do all that. How many other examples are there? 10, 20, 30, 40 years we're going back to cancel people? But this slips through the cracks. It's outrageous. And that people aren't outraged and skipping work with their posters and going to the courthouse or going to Balenciaga, and stars aren't wiping their Instagram and social media with all their Balenciaga gear is disgusting in itself. Don't you tell me, Hollywood, how to live my life, or you want me canceled, or because you produce something. You're going to go around because Balenciaga pays you $1 million, $2 million, $5 million? Kim Kardashian, shame on you. You're a billionaire. You don't need this company. They need you. And for you to take a week and a half to come to a conclusion, shame on you.
Well, she claims, I agree with everything you said, and thank you for that passionate speech. I feel the same way. In fact, your wife's the one that brought this whole disgusting campaign to, I don't even want to call it campaign, let's call it criminal. It's, in my opinion, I don't know if they're going to face criminal, any sort of charges, but they should. This is child pornography, in my opinion.
But let's separate that. I really want to be clear. I don't want to stand up for child pornography. I don't want to be that person on this panel, so I just want to say that out loud. But child pornography is when you have children in naked or doing pornographic things. The children themselves, I want to be clear, were not pornographic. They were holding things
but they're
that were incredibly inappropriate.
Yeah, but they're placed in very inappropriate pornography pornographic environments. To me, like, go ahead.
Can I keep going on? Because this photographer specifically that took these pictures has a past, okay? He takes pictures of naked little kids. So by saying these kids aren't in any danger is a misstatement, because they are in danger with this guy. He had to pull up that document. That's sick. That's going to another level. Balenciaga put his book on their website that was filled with pictures of naked children. This isn't a one-off.
This is criminal charges.
This is two separate ads. This is two separate ads with them putting his book on their website. Don't tell me Balenciaga this slipped through the cracks. But you want to cancel? I don't know where my head is at, because if I said something 10 years ago, people need to fire me. But if you take pictures with little kids and saying that they're somehow involved in child pornography, let's talk about it a week and a half later.
Let's look at the industry in general, though. Let's look at, like, Corey Feldman, who's come out, and Elijah Wood, is that the other actor that's come out saying that in Hollywood, as young boys, they were molested and they were sexually assaulted as young boys. I don't remember anything happening after that movement.
And mocked.
Shame. They were shamed for that.
So this is a bigger issue, to Jeff's point, than a lot of people are giving it credit too.
Right.
And I think criminal charges should be on the table. I agree with you, Jeff, tenfold. As far as Kim Kardashian goes, what I did want to say before we got into a different sidebar is that Kim said the reason why she waited so long is because she wanted to actually talk to them and talk to her lawyers and figure out exactly who is culpable before she went out publicly.
Why couldn't Kanye use the same statement? Why couldn't he say that? I need to really cross my T's and dot my I's before I came out with a statement. They had demanded a statement, and then Adidas fired him, and there was outrage. I cannot believe there's no outrage for child pornography.
There is outrage, but you're saying in comparison.
And again, I don't think. Okay, we'll go to break.
We'll be right back. We're going to continue the conversation on our YouTube, so make sure you go to our YouTube.
No. The book
You
that
can
they
tell
posted
when
his
something
work
hits
on their website.
the panel really hard, and we just want to
Yeah,
keep talking
not
about
the-
it, and we talk about it in
Yes.
the back.
They
We
took-
absolutely feel this strongly about it.
You know, like
We're
your
talking about a
lookbook,
kid.
if you're a photographer, you have a lookbook.
But there are some artistic books with children that are nude that are not pornographic. Think about paintings of like the Romans, the children.
I don't care.
Jesus
I don't
and
care if he
things.
painted the Sistine Chapel.
thank you.
If you're doing things with little kids, why can't I be outraged? Everyone's been outraged for the last 2 years. I can't be outraged for one day.
No, I would have to take
But everyone's like making excuses, like, oh, he has artwork in the Guggenheim. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care if he has artwork in the
Is
Guggenheim.
it here? I can try. Here. I think I can try and like turn it on and off. Maybe that's the thing. See, feel right here, honey. You feel right there. You can kind of just make sure. Oh, I heard something. Yep, I do. We're good.
I
Thank
love that
you.
there's some passion around this.
Okay.
I've been,
Yep.
do you remember I was texting you guys about a show that I was watching that was a kid show that person has now been summarily fired. I can hear you. Yeah, and I thought that was
I do.
inappropriate.
Thank
I've
you,
always thought
Jody.
toddlers and tiaras was very
Okay.
inappropriate. I just
Okay,
think that
sounds good. Thank
the
you so much, Jody.
hypersexualization of children has been going on, and it has been socially
Okay,
acceptable
so I gotta be
for
turned
some
up,
reason
though.
or
Hold on.
another for
Keep
a
talking.
long,
I'm gonna
long,
try and
long
turn you up.
time.
Keep
And I
talking.
do not understand.
Keep
Like there are
talking.
things that just like glancing at it, you're like, what? Why is
Perfect.
that?
Thanks, Jody.
Why is that little girl in that pose? Why is she wearing? Why does she have lipstick on it?
Yes.
And everybody's like, it's a popular show.
I don't know.
It's
just defending this sexualization of young kids that are innocent and that their
Well, why
lives.
don't we ever talk about the Corey Feldman and Elijah Wood case?
The pedophilia. Right.
Nobody ever talks about that.
Because I think that there's so many people involved, Sam, it would blow your mind. It's
disgusting.
Because
It's like the Epstein
it's so many people. How many people had to be complicit in the Larry Nassar situation?